Oh, what's up, my dudes? Halo's back, baby. We got us a little bit of a review here on Halo Infinite's multiplayer. I've not played the campaign yet. I do plan on doing that at some point, but this is just, really focusing in on this multiplayer. So, I mean, man, like, there is so many times where I was playing Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I'm like, this is Halo, Seems like with Halo 4 and 5, they just, especially with the custom, like, loadouts and, trying to make it more like a Call of Duty, that just didn't fit into Halo for me. Like, I don't know, there was something about, like, once you create a formula, whether it's Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever kind of game it is, you got to be very careful and not change that formula, you know what I mean? Because you've built up, that's what creates Halo's gameplay loop, right? Not having that, custom loadout and all that kind of crap. And, the standard, I think you start with, like, the assault rifle, 2 grenades, and that's about it. And that's how I like to play Halo. I mean, that's my way of playing Halo, because it makes everything that you pick up on the map, even if it's not like a full-blown power weapon, just picking up a BR or a shotgun or whatever, not like I'm not talking like a rocket launcher and stuff like that. Even just picking up some of those mid-tier weapons gives you this certain enjoyment, there's this certain enjoyment of starting with little on a match and then finding things that can actually help you within the match. And there's just something about that gameplay loop that was created with Halo Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and then into Halo 3. They don't ever really need to change that formula from that. Like, you can do whatever you want to around that formula, whatever the heck kind of weapons you want to throw in there, whatever the heck kind of maps you want to throw in there, whatever the heck you want to do, but, like, you don't want to change that core formula of the game. And that's why you're seeing everybody talking about Halo Infinite, dude, the gameplay, Halo's back, dude. It's like the old school Halos. It's, that's why they say those things, because it's brought back that core formula gameplay loop that Halo used to have before, Halo 4 and Halo 5. I played Halo 4 and 5. They were fun for a minute, but, like, there was nothing about them for me personally that really kept me engaged long-term for Halo 4 and 5. To me, Halo Infinite really feels like that proper game after Halo 3. You know what I mean? When it comes to gameplay and just the overall design choices around the game and everything like that. One thing I do want to say, though, Halo Infinite is back, and it's amazing when it comes to the gameplay, the gunplay, the mechanics, the movement, all of that kind of stuff. But when it comes to content, that's a different story. So you guys know Halo Infinite is going down this free-to-play road, which has kind of become a big defense for the game, because it is lacking in content. I mean, in every kind of way you can possibly imagine. But what I do want to say is, as long as you got that gameplay, I mean, the content is always the second thing that you worry about. You got to get that gameplay down first, because you can have all the content in the world, but if that gameplay is not really fun and replayable and really keep you engaged and want to keep you coming back and playing it more and more, you can have all the content in the world and it still doesn't matter. So the fact that Halo Infinite does have that core gameplay to it, it makes the content, the lack thereof of content, not seem quite as bad. And it just feels to me like it's something they're going to be able to add on to, and it's going to be just fine in the future. Like, once we get, especially after next year, whenever they add the Forge and then obviously campaign co-op and all that, and I'm sure they're going to have, at least 10 plus more maps in the game by the time you get to the end of 2022. I think that's the biggest thing they need to do with Halo Infinite is really keep on adding maps to the game. That's going to be a big, a really big element to it. But let me talk about the guns real quick. I know there's so many different things to talk about in this game. So what makes the guns feel the weapons, I should say, half of them you can't even really consider them a gun, but the weapons in the game, they really feel like all of them have their place in the sense of you can either do really good with any weapon in the game or you can do really bad with any weapon in the game. It all depends on how you use it, right? So that's what goes to show you every weapon really does have its place, because it doesn't, at least for me, it doesn't feel like any weapon is just usable in any situation. It doesn't feel like there's just this one kind of weapon that you can use super up close and super far away and still be super dominant mid-range. It seems like every weapon, you can either use it properly and it's going to mow people down, or you can use that same weapon in the wrong way and you're going to get dominated, So that's kind of what it felt like to me. Like with the sniper, for instance, it really feels like a strictly long-range weapon in this game. It doesn't feel like it's not as, where you can just move it around everywhere and snap to people really close to you. The sniper really feels like more of a strictly long-range weapon. The assault rifle, for instance, strictly feels like that short to mid-range, you know what I mean? And you're going to get outclassed long range, you're going to get outclassed super short range, but it's right there in between that short to mid-range. The BR is right there in that mid-range, You can use it a little bit at longer ranges, but the BR really is the mid-range weapon. The assault rifle is definitely more usable in this game than it has been in previous Halo. A lot of times the assault rifle is more of a super close-up weapon, but it's more of a short to mid type range weapon in this game. The pistol, the sidearm pistol, is legit. That's one of the best choices they made in this game, is the fact that you start with that assault rifle, right, which is that short to mid range, but then you have that sidearm, that pistol, right, and it's good enough to pull you through as a BR style, more of a longer mid-range, precision, shooting kind of semi-auto type weapon in the game. So even though everybody's starting with the same shit most of the time, unless you're playing like SWAT or something like that, everybody's starting with that assault rifle and then sidearm pistol, and it really gives you options. That's what's cool about it. It's like, you can run around with just the pistol and dominate, You can run around with just the assault rifle and dominate, but it doesn't feel like, oh man, why would I ever change to my secondary pistol? Because that's not going to do jack shit. But it also doesn't feel like you should always change to your secondary pistol, kind of like it did in Halo 1. Halo Combat Evolved, especially when you go back and play it nowadays, it's like, half the time, there's not even a reason to have the assault rifle out at all. But this game really feels like you can do pretty good with the assault rifle or the sidearm pistol. So it doesn't always feel like you're using the same weapon that you started with, over and over and over. Sometimes you whip out that pistol when you run out of ammo in the assault rifle, or you got trying to reload with the assault rifle. You got to swap to the pistol really quick, and it's still completely viable. It doesn't feel like just some piece of shit weapon. I feel like every weapon in this game, it's like it doesn't feel overpowered or underpowered. It's all in how you use it. It's all in the situation you use it in and the ranges that you use it in that totally changes everything, And I think that's what's really keeping the gameplay solid, is the fact that every weapon feels like there's a use for it. There's a place for it. There's a position for it. There's a, I feel like that's what's really making this multiplayer cool. One thing I do want to say about the map designs in Halo Infinite's multiplayer, I don't know why they've started going down this more like earthy, realistic, and let me just say this, I love the throwbacks to Halo Combat Evolved, that OG Halo woodland with the kind of, I don't even know how to, it's just Halo, you know what I mean? Those original Combat Evolved campaign maps, that big map where you got on that warthog and everything, they've kind of replicated the entire design of Halo Infinite around that, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I love the big team battle maps that they have for Halo Infinite. Those are really cool. I'm talking more about some of those other smaller maps that almost feel like you've mixed like the theme of a Call of Duty map, but then you've brought it over into Halo. Those are kind of, it's okay to have a couple of those, but I think they're getting a little caught up in that, and let me try to give you a better example here. They just don't feel as sci-fi alien. You know, I would love to see some maps on some random alien planets or some random, other Covenant areas or something that with some crazy, Halo alien-looking fauna and flora and shit around the map to really make it stand out. I feel like each one of the maps don't have enough of their own theme and really feel different enough to be as memorable as they could be or should be. Do you understand what I'm saying? I just don't feel like they're fully tapping into that. Because with Halo, it's pretty much unlimited what you can do with map themes and biomes and all that kind of stuff. Like, you can literally do anything. I feel like they need a big team snow map on Halo Infinite. That's something they're kind of missing right now. They need some snow maps. There's also no pre-game lobbies or post-game lobbies for some reason. Like, they've kind of stripped away all of the social element of it. I don't know what you know how much fun it is going in there, like, everybody waiting in a lobby before the match starts and kind of, voting a map or whatever. There's none of that in this game for some reason. And then when you end a match, it just puts you back into your own menu and takes you away from all of the players that you were with. So you can't, like, add people up or, whatever. You can't really do any of that. And it's just like, why? Why is that not in the game? There's just some elements to this game that really feel like they were not even close to being finished on, like some basic things like that, And just overall, I don't know what it is, but with the graphical nature of it and the little, the red outlines on the enemies, the little weird, some new thing they've added where, it gives you that red outline to the small little red outline to the enemy players because, it lets you pick whatever color of gear you want to run and everything. It shows your custom gear color even when you're on like Team Slayer and team-oriented game modes, which I think is cool. I think it's cool that it, it shows your own custom color no matter what you're playing on, but that red outline though, dude, I'm not the biggest fan of that. It just almost makes it feel like you're playing like some super arcade, like helping hand. That's what it feels like to me. Instead of like having to actually keep track of where your enemy is, it keeps track of where your enemy is for you with a red outline. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's totally eliminated like trying to hide. Obviously, you have radar on a lot of the game modes, but like just trying to hide off in the distance, you can't really do a whole lot of that, man. It super helps with seeing people off in the distance, like, and I don't mean help in a good way. I mean like it overly, exposes your enemies to the point where it just doesn't even make sense. They need to figure out something else with that red outline crap. I don't know what the solution is, but I'm not a big fan of the red outline. So honestly, like, my biggest gripe for the game, and I don't even know if you can really call it a gripe because I think this is really going to change over time whenever they do add more maps to the game, but specifically when you're playing free-for-all or like Team Slayer, your standard 4v4 or free-for-all, almost every single one of the maps in those playlists are just too small. You guys know those small maps that I'm talking about in this game. There's a good like 4 of them in the game. There's not a whole lot of maps to begin with, but you know, specifically when you get on like free for all, for instance, they've got the maps built in a way to where it becomes more chaotic than it should be. It's like it really gives you that instant feeling of you could be the greatest Halo player in the history of mankind, and you're just simply not going to go on more than a 3 or 4 kill streak in a certain life in free-for-all. You're just not going to do it because of the way the maps are built, with how small they are and chaotic designed. Most of the maps in the game, it's like right as soon as you can get 2 or 3 kills, it's like somebody spawned close enough to you to where either you can't recharge your shield in time, or you can't reload in time, or whatever the case may be, and then you just get killed, not because you made a bad play, but because the map is so small and the spawns are so close to you that another guy comes around the corner before you literally even have time to do anything about it. That's my biggest problem with this game right now. It's like, I feel like what they consider normal maps in the game, I consider too small of maps in the game. It's okay to have a couple of small maps in a Halo game, but I feel like they've gotten way too, with the way the sight lines work in the game and everything, it's just, man, I mean, it literally gets to that chaotic level, you know, shoot a guy and then shoot another guy, and then before you can even turn around or even think about recharging your shield, there's another guy coming around the corner. You know what I mean? It's like and so it gives you this replayable loop of, okay, go kill 2 guys and then die because my shield's low. Go kill 1 or 2 guys and then die because there's another guy coming around the corner before I could even recharge my shield. That's a problem. That's a legit problem in the game right now. It's not an ordeal in big team, you know, modes, because those maps are plenty big for that. And it's not as much of a problem in like Team Slayer, because you do have 2 of those maps in rotation that are more like medium sized. This is specifically more of a free for all, and then on those smaller maps on Team Slayer and stuff like that. Definitely in free-for-all, if you're not going to allow us to play on any of the bigger maps, you need to take away at least 1 player as far as how many people are in the free-for-all. The spawns are too chaotic for what it is. Do you know what I mean? And I get it. Free-for-all is meant to be chaotic like that, but you reach a threshold point there where you took it too far, you know? I hate how that's the way it feels. It feels like 9 times out of 10, you didn't die because of a bad play. You died because you just got out of combat with a different enemy. You know what I mean? And before you can even recharge your shield, somebody else pops you from across the map or shoots you from around a corner. And you know, there's not enough space between the spawn and the combat to where you can kill 2 or 3 guys and then, you know, recharge your shield and then go back into action, kill 2 or 3 more guys, recharge your shield, go back into action. The maps are just too cramped down to really allow you to be able to do that. That's a massive problem I have with free-for-all in the game. That's a really big problem. So when it comes to the customization and the emblems and everything like that, so you can't make your own custom emblem. You can't do a lot of the stuff that you could do in the old school Halos, because they built it so much around that free-to-play micro DLC, you know, thing to the game, and that's cool and all. I think Halo Infinite is doing the right thing in the sense of they're trying to come out with basically a platform to create this 10 plus year, you know, Halo multiplayer experience, and I love that. I love everything about that. I hate how Call of Duty is doing it, where it's like every year it's like you go to this completely different game before you even have time to digest the game that you had before, and then it's just, and they're kind of running into that now, especially with Warzone, because the new Modern Warfare has such good gunplay, and with Warzone and everything, now they're having to bring like their newer Call of Duty games into their older Call of Duty Warzone stuff, and they're all over the place with it. So I think with Halo Infinite, especially with the name and everything, it's going to be a really fun experience to see where this game goes in the next 4 or 5 years. And I like having everything in one game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I like having like a really fun experience in a game for a decade plus. And then you can think about going to the next game. I would love to see just build on that one game. They know the gunplay's good. They know the gameplay loop's good in Halo Infinite. They got all that. They got all that important shit down. I know they're kind of fumbling a little bit with the way you unlock stuff and the all of the DLC and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I definitely think like you need to allow us to make custom emblems in the game for sure, instead of just giving us this random selection of pre-made emblems. That's never been how Halo has been. I know you're trying to, get more monetization out of it, but like even in Halo Master Chief Collection, first of all, the playlist on the Master Chief Collection, the way you pick what kind of game mode you want to play is perfect. You can do anything. You can do Slayer, free-for-all, any kind of game. I have no idea why there wasn't an option to just play just Slayer when Halo Infinite's multiplayer first come out. I know they've added that in there just recently, but like what the hell? Of all game modes that you wouldn't allow us to just play on its own, like Slayer? Really? Trust me, 343 Industries did not accidentally not let you just pick Slayer when the game first came out. That is the most simple game mode. All you're doing is killing the other people. Like, that's it. So, trust me, that was done on purpose. Now, for what reason, I have no idea. But, everybody talking about, 343 is putting all their resources in all this shit, and then they can't even give you a Slayer playlist. Trust me, dog, they did that on purpose. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that. I have no idea, but now they got Slayer in there, thank God. That was so stupid. Like, really? That's probably the most played game mode, whether it's free-for-all, which is just Slayer, or like Team Slayer, Big Team Slayer. I still don't think they have a Big Team Slayer specific playlist. If you try to go to Big Team stuff, it goes to like that where it can be anything. They need to have a Big Team Slayer in there. You need to have, like, Slayer is the one kind, or Slayer or Team Deathmatch or free-for-all. Those kind of game modes, those should be the ones that are the most, you can select exactly what you want with any kind of different option, like that is the most critical game mode of it. And then all of this other stuff like Oddball and Capture the Flag and all that should have been your secondary, stuff that you worried about. Slayer should have been the number one focused thing. So that's why it was so mind-baffling that you couldn't pick just Slayer. There's a lot of people that just want to hop in the new Halo game and just shoot people, and then the only objective is to kill the other players, shoot the other team. There's nothing else to have to worry about. Like, that's the way a lot of people want to play Halo, You need to give us back the option to at least make the custom emblems that we would have made with, like, the Master Chief Collection, You can do that in the Master Chief Collection. We should at least bare minimum be able to do that. And then over time, if you want to give us like more emblems and stuff to be able to use with our emblem editor, making our own emblem, if you want to give us more like shapes or cool different ways to make emblems as a micro DLC thing in the future, that's fine. You can give us more emblem options in the future, but to completely take out the customizing your emblem altogether, that's not the right way to do it, man. That is not the right way to do it. I'm just going to say that right there. Like, and it's just like like I'm saying, if you don't spend any money on Halo Infinite's multiplayer, there's like nothing you can change on your Spartan at all. You can change the color? That's the other thing they have made more into that monetary shit. Now, instead of, really customizing the color combos of your emblem and your Spartan, that has all been totally stripped away to make it around that monetization paid micro DLC. So now there's these, whatever they call them in the game, I think they're like paint jobs or paint schemes or whatever the heck, where, you know, you've got to unlock or buy a certain, they pre-make, it's like a pre-designed selection of colors or design on the you know, the Halo gear itself, instead of you going in there and picking what color combos and stuff that you want. Now you've got to unlock that specific color combo or that specific, you know, emblem combo or whatever. You see what I'm saying? They've taken away your own personal customization touch to it, and that's a problem for me. Even in a free-to-play micro DLC game, like, you got to give us the base element to be able to make our own custom stuff and custom color our Spartan, and then if you want to add on, like, metallic colors or, you know, different patterns on the Spartan's gear and stuff like that, that's fine. You can do all of that as micro paid DLC and everything like that, but you don't want to make simple stuff as just like changing the Spartan color to a multicolored thing. You don't want to make stuff like that, like, you know, and then not being able to customize your Spartan's gear at all itself as far as the color. That's a problem for me. I think they've taken that micro DLC monetization shit a little bit too far, even for a free-to-play Halo game. Like, you know, even though it's free to play, it's still a Halo game. It's still a Halo multiplayer experience. You've got to allow us to make custom emblems and custom color our Spartan's gear, and, you know, at least to the level that it is in, like, you know, Halo 3 with the Master Chief Collection. At least allow us to color the Spartan's gear to that level and create our emblems and color our emblems to that level. Then you can add on whatever extra, you know, paint schemes, paint jobs, emblem, you know, stuff. You can add whatever you want to on top of that. But my point is, the base, they don't even allow you to customize it to the base level that you should be able to. So anyways, yeah, it's pretty lacking in customization content. Obviously, that's going to be heavily improved upon in these future months for sure, but yeah, I mean, I feel like the grappling hook and all that stuff just fits right into the game. It's just all fitting in really well. I would love to see the SMG brought back. I haven't seen the SMG in the game anywhere. I really want to see that silenced SMG from ODST brought back in. Maybe even like a silenced and an unsilenced version of an SMG would be pretty cool. There's just no reason not to have that in the game. Just give you an extra little, you know, close range weapon to use in the game, I think would be really cool. And then the shotgun, that's the one thing. The shotgun in the game is not really fun to use. It's not super impressive, doesn't give you that old school Halo shotgun feel. I think that's one of the core weapons of the game that just doesn't really give you that OG Halo feel. Like, the assault rifle is obviously different, but it still gives you somewhat of that OG Halo assault rifle feel. The battle rifle definitely gives you that OG Halo battle rifle feel, but I feel like the shotgun's not really stacking up, you know. It's still usable, it still, you know, fits in with the balance of the game and everything, but it just, something about it doesn't give me that old school Halo pump shotgun kind of feel, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think they could do that and bring back the some more of the Covenant weapons. There's not quite as many as I thought was going to be. I definitely think over time, just adding a few more weapons will just give it more of that overall, you know, weapon feeling to the game. I think that's only going to help the game in the future. But yeah, overall, Halo Infinite multiplayer, Halo's back, baby. It's free to play. You know, it being free to play is a certain element to the review of it, but I do think the game's going to change a lot in the future. Like, at the end of 2022, you're going to be able to give a completely different review on Halo Infinite than you can right now. You know, obviously, once Forge comes out and you got all more of those game modes, they desperately need more big team battle maps in the game. as far as what I know right now, the only ones that are really in there are like the you know, that old school Combat Evolved style woodland big team battle map. Like, they need a huge desert, you know, dune map, big team battle map like you had in Halo 3. They need that giant snow map like you had in Halo 1, and fucking think there was 1 in 3 on that as well. I don't know. They definitely need some more bigger maps for sure, without a doubt. So yeah, my overall review for Halo Infinite multiplayer, it's definitely worth a play. Definitely since it's free. Like, you can try the game out, you know. There is no money that you have to pay up front, but I will say it is severely lacking in customization options. Even though there's a lot of different stuff you can do to customize your Spartan, they've also like limited a lot of things as well, like customizing your own emblem, coloring your own emblem, making your own custom colored Spartans gear and stuff like that. You know, that was a really fun thing to do back in Halo 3, you know, even like Halo 1 and 2, that was such a big thing, having that personalization in that sense, and they've taken that away from you a little bit by making it that free-to-play game, you know, so I really hope they add that back to it. But overall, I mean, this is what I expected to be the game after Halo 3. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say that should go to show you how I feel about Halo Infinite. This is what I expected for us to have after Halo 3 instead of what we got with Halo 4 and 5. You know what I mean? So overall, I'm going to give this thing, like this multiplayer, like a 8. I don't know, man. It's an 8 or 9 out of 10. I mean, it's way up there, dog. Especially when it gets the more maps and better customization and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be up there in a 10. I can already tell you, by the end of 2022, Halo Infinite is gonna be a 10 out of 10 for sure, without a doubt, no doubt about it. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.